Hello, everyone in podcast land. I'm David.
And I'm Jono.
And this is the podcast where we assemble jets, turbines, rockets, spaceships to destroy Ganon.
It's so cool. It's so cool watching.
It's the podcast called Let's Wing It.
Yeah.
And we have a treat for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Jono's played it. I've watched my stepdaughter play it over her shoulder, so I don't have too many thoughts. So I'm excited to hear what John has to play. We're going to talk about Ted Lasso and the state of season 3. Big Door Prize, the other Apple Plus TV show that just had its wrap this week. And then you're going to talk about 911.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about that.
It's the most random show just because it just satisfies my needs for cops and for firefighters and emergencies and disasters. It's like,
hell yeah.
It's my dirty TV garbage I watch, but I watched 911 as a limb and it surprised me. But anyways, I did want, like I said before, I did want to open this up. A question that will tickle your brain. So I was scrolling through Twitter and I was like, I had to think about this. The question was, would you rather be reborn with all the knowledge and experience you have to 6 years old or $10 million cash right now?
That's always an interesting one. I would have been 6 in 97. So is it 1997 or is it like there's like a new family in 2023?
No. You'll be just like, you wake up as you.
Well, then it's pretty easy. I would definitely choose that because time is, the most valuable resource.
Wait,
100%.
Would you so
$10 million? I can Bitcoin. As soon as I'm smart enough to, put a mine in or get a $100 birthday gift, you just buy $100 in Bitcoin and you're like, all right, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah. So I was doing that. I'm like, yeah, I'll just go back in time. But here's the problem. Here's my problem because we're both in relationships and stuff. Would you want to go back? Would you want to find Cassie and then find Zoe and all that kind of stuff? Because for me, I was thinking about, I don't know if I could actually recreate all that shit to have Jillian and even Cadence too, my dog.
I think, of course, yes, I would love to find Cassie and stuff. And I think you could make it happen if that's what you sought out. But I also think that you would be such a different person having lived an extra 25 years and you come back and you're just so different. And so it would be hard. That's a good added dimension to the question.
Because that's what I was thinking about. It's would I actually sacrifice that? Because you're going to be sacrificing and it's going to be, honestly, like you said, very difficult. Because Jill and I have been together for coming up 17 years.
Damn, so that's crazy.
Yeah. So we met when my early 20s. So it's I'm not confident that I could recreate everything. I know I would know where she was at certain times of her life, but I don't think I could see her. Because if I met her earlier, she'd be different from today. It would have to be the exact same time, exact same job, exact same thing.
I think if you set your mind on, I need to get this partner back, I think you could prepare a way for it to happen. You do the meet cute and the first 10 dates, you can really sweep her off her feet and be across all times. And you can even sell the idea of I had the option of living an entirely different life and I've made every different decision, but across all these different lives, across all these different lives, I choose you. And then it's oh, okay, we're meant to be together. So I think you can spin it. You can spin it to be even better if that's what's the priority to you. But I think for $10 million today, it sounds fucking awesome. But I'm pretty confident, knowing what I know now, if I could go back to 97 and work my way up, I think I could end up with more than $10 million extra today.
Yeah, I know it's so hard for me because I don't want that situation of doing all these things. She'll be inherently technically different. And that's what worries me. So it's well, do I take that risk or I come off as a fucking crazy person? Because it could come off as a crazy person. And I know it's fine. But I mean, she could love you and say yes, but she would never be that same person. Same things that you come up. For me, 16 years I've grown up with her. I'm she'll be inherently not the same person.
I think it'd be, I'd be actually less concerned that they would be super different. I think I'd be more concerned that I would be super different. Because you think about how much 25 years of life experience or 30 years of life experience changes you. Like, it's like, obviously, I'm 32 now. When I'm 62, I'm expecting that I have a different mentality and, think differently. And so I think I would be too different to go back is what I would expect, more than I wouldn't be able to recreate the scenario in which we fall in love.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, I would take the 10 milk. I'd be like, John, 10 milk for you, baby. Stick around. It'll be fine. Because I know how to make more money for $10 million. But granted, I totally understand. You could do Bitcoin, you could do Amazon, you could do Apple, you can do all these things.
Yeah, there's a million things. Yeah, exactly. Right before Apple does iPod again, you're just like, all right, I'm gonna mow 1,000 lawns, get like $2,000, and I'm gonna just put $2,000 on Apple.
Yeah, or buy Amazon when they're like 20 cents, like because the market bubble crash or something. So I mean,
so I think money wise, it's better to do that. I think also getting 25 for me. Yeah. So if I was to go back to 6, I'd be 26 years ago. So I get 26 extra years of life. That alone is worth a lot of fucking. That's worth more than any amount of money because there's like we have a set amount of time. You can like work for a little bit more, by being healthy and stuff, but you also could just die at any point. So it's like knowing that you're gonna get in the scenario. I'm guessing that you're gonna make it back. At least this age, so you're guaranteeing 26 years, or you gotta
do the big do over for sure. So I mean, like, here's the thing: is that I would say, people who are at least like me in very long relationships and committed marriage, blah blah blah. I think people would still hesitate. They will still probably do it, but I mean, like, people who are like, no offense to anyone, if you're my age, alone, and single, you would probably fucking take that deal, like reborn 6. Instant, no problem. But I mean, like, I think in my scenario, I'll be like, I couldn't do it. I was just like,
are you someone that like is able to process, mistakes you made in the past with no regret and just be like, oh, like I am who I am because of the mistakes I made? Or are you like me and you're like, I would do everything so fucking different?
I see. That's the thing. It's like I was half going like that. I used to be that. I would do everything different, but like, time, maturity. You start to accept that these scars and these mistakes and these cringes that you wake up at night going, fuck, why did I do that? That makes you. Like, honestly, if I could redo, I could do so many things differently at my time at LMG. Those all my times at all these other jobs. I'd be hugely successful. Fuck you, Musk. Like, I'd make you look like a dumb boy. Yeah. And all these things. Like, but yeah, I just, for me, it's like, would I sacrifice the time with my wife? And yes, I know that's very incredibly romantic to say, but I couldn't do it. Like,
she's like, is she sitting in the corner of the room, just like, that's right, Jono, you'll say that answer. That's right.
No, she's in another room. Fuck that bitch.
I love her so much.
I love her. But yeah, I was just really curious, and I just want to be like, for the viewers, just tell me, what do you guys think? Do you guys?
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
I am definitely team. Give me the years.
I'm gonna message Cassie like, relationship's dead. Get out.
No, I can go and find her and be in a better spot. It's fine.
I'll rescue you, baby.
Anyways, I think that's a good segue into Big Door Prize, because it's a show all about, realizing your potential and seeing kind of like the best way you can live your life. And this will be like my impression, spoiler free. I think I talked about it very early on in the season, but the season is done. And I am happy. I don't think it's like the best show ever. It's not like Shrinking or Severance, where it's like you have to watch these shows. Yeah. But it span around, and I think it landed in a good place where it used its idea and its its core concept to communicate a strong message. And I think it worked. And it's really important for a show like that, where it's like, they have this really weird kind of sci-fi twist that makes everyone act strange, for it to land and like get there, or else everything is just kind of stupid. And I think it lands it strongly and confidently. And I feel like the places that characters arrive was quite satisfying. And I would definitely recommend the show. Don't watch the trailers because they give you the wrong impression on the tone. It's a little more like dramatic than comedic.
Yeah. So so let me talk to the viewers for a second, because when you talked about it to me first, I'm like, oh, okay. I was like naming, I'm like, okay, this show, just based on the trailers, and you said I was dead wrong, which I was like, oh, interesting. Jillian has started watching it. I think she's episode 3 Like
Sure.
she has to like rewind it because of the fact that she's like me. We kind of go on the computer and have it in the background.
Yep.
Which is really bad because, well, I mean, maybe for her because she doesn't remember shit and she's watched like the first 3 episodes. I think 3 times already. She's like, I still don't really know it. But she said that whatever we thought, at least what I said in the trailer, was incredibly wrong. So I was like, oh, interesting. So that's my next show after Ted Lasso.
Yeah. And so I'll close off the Big Door Prize because like there's not much to say without getting into spoilers. But I would recommend it. I'll rate it like a 7.3 over the season. I think it starts at a 6 and it gets better and better and better. And at the final episodes, it's like almost at an 8. And so the average is around like a low 7.
Does it get weird?
Less weird than I hoped. So it definitely, I thought it was going to get like a really weird, surreal twist. But there's stuff that happens. There's like definitely layers to the whole story. But it's not weird in the way that I like my media to be. And I don't want to spoil too much more. So
Apple has that kind of weird sense of like they take concepts and they kind of go into really odd places that doesn't make you feel alienated. Because like just watching a lot of the shows, except for I can't remember those like the one military thriller show I need to watch again, like Eagle.
Citadel.
Something. No, not Citadel.
No, that one.
That's
so
Amazon.
No, that's
Prime.
Amazon. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I still need to watch that. I know it looks kind of bad, but I was like, yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah, apparently it's one of the biggest TV flops in history.
Oh, Russo brothers! No! Well, I mean, okay. I will say, what's her name?
I don't know, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. She's not great. She was really good at Quantico, but after that, it was like, whew.
Well, I feel the same with Richard Madden, who's the main guy in the show. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
But he's like kind of better in side roles. Like doesn't have leading man energy to me. Like even as Robb Stark.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Game of Thrones, everybody. So turn off it for like 30 seconds.
No.
He's like almost leading man where you're like, yeah, King of the North. But you're never like, dude's going to be the fucking hero of the realm. Because like there's just something a little bit off about him. And it's super judgy, but you know, that's how TV casting works. And so when he dies and everything fucking falls apart, you're like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Priyanka Chopra. And she was, like I said, she was amazing in Quantico. First season, 2015, that's when she came out. And then she started getting kind of weird. And Baywatch, she kind of jumped the shark. And yeah, because she was like,
I never watched that Baywatch movie. It looked too bad.
Yeah, I mean everything like Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron, perfect. They'll pretty chemistry is really good. But Chopra, it's like you're like
didn't fit in.
Yeah, I mean, she's really good, but also she felt like she's trying to steal the show, but she's the villain, and then you just kind of like just chill, yo, just be the villain. Just be the villain. Let those guys have their fun. You're just there. Because she was like kind of like the Indian ambassador going, hey, Indian people can be like big stars too. And that's why I thought when I watched like her in Quantico, because I thought she was really good. And I think fame and stardom. Because here's the thing. If you're a kind of a B tier celebrity in North America, you go back to fucking India. Or you back to your home country. Like it's like even the Philippines, same way. You are like God in your home country. In India, you're treated like a god. And yeah, it's just, I think fame got to her head. I'm just speculating. Or maybe she just was the right person in Quantico and she just got lucky.
I think that's always a big part of it is like, you don't have to be a good actor if you're cast in the right role. And so if you have the skills, it enhances it. But then, it kind of exposes it after that. Like, it's like, think of like McLovin. Like, He's fine at acting. Like he can act and he's done good roles. Like he's awesome in Kick-Ass and
he was good in Kick-Ass 1. Kick-Ass 2 was
Kick-Ass 2. But that was just the movie sucked. It's like not his fault.
Yeah.
But in Superbad, it's like he doesn't have to be a good actor to be perfect. He's perfect. He just is perfect. He fucking is McLovin. Yeah. And so I think there's a lot of actors like that where it's just like they find the role they were born to play. Yeah. And then it's hard to replicate that chemistry or that lightning in a bottle because that was the role they were born to play.
Yeah, he was like the perfect McLovin. It's like Mick Hamill as Luke Skywalker. It's just like you can't escape those roles. And unfortunately, thankfully enough, Mark Hamill found success other ways, but it took a long time. Yeah, it's, I think honestly, that's probably like the worst scenario of fame is like one hit wonders, or you're kind of,
Well, and I think the best thing that can happen for someone is for them to have fame and then get their role of a lifetime, because then they're still known for other things, but then they have this amazing role. And I think a perfect example of that is Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso.
Yeah, let's talk about
obviously
that.
he had quite a bit of success before, but he was able to create this character and create this series, or be an essential piece to the creation of this series.
Yeah.
And I think this is the best role, or I would have said this was the best role he's ever done until season 3.
Yeah. So,
okay. So before we go further, because that was kind of a spicy take I just gave, give me your general thoughts on season 3 so far. We've watched up to episode 10. So there's 2 more episodes left, but we want to kind of just do a catch up and, check in.
Yeah. So season 3, I would say the first couple episodes were pretty good. Middle episodes was still good. I did not like Ted at all in the middle episodes. And then now near the end, he's like, oh, it's picking up. It's good. Here's what I'm going to say. And I guess this is probably a spoiler. Yeah, it's probably a spoiler.
Yeah, we're gonna go full spoilers on Ted Lasso season 3, so, including 1 and 2. So
okay, yeah, let me explain this. So the first couple of episodes, he was being actually a manager, a coach. Like he was like teaching them, doing his Ted Lasso thing. He brought him to the series. Cool, awesome. And he just fucking falls apart for the rest of the season. It's like he brought in his professional and his personal life way too close. I'm like, dude, I get it. You're going through a divorce, but you're fucking, you're a coach. You're literally a manager of a fucking Premier League club. You gotta fucking separate it out, because he just started to suck. Like it was just so annoying watching him season over and over again, and watching Nate being a fucking awesome manager, even though he was kind of being kind of cringy. And then he had that Amsterdam episode, and I was like, oh, thank God he did something. And then he started becoming a coach again. And I was like, okay, I love you. You're great now. Thank God. Because I was like, if Amsterdam did not happen, I would be like, this is the worst season.
Okay, let's stick on Ted himself for a second, because I agree. I think from the beginning, I was mad. I was like, come on, Ted. Dude, you've been doing this for several years. Yeah. Get fucking educated. And it's pathetic. It was honestly like infuriating how ignorant about soccer he was. And it's like, get it. Season 1, like, they bring you in as a joke, and then you turn out to be like this great heart of a team, creating like a safe space for these people to be the best version of themselves. That's fine for 1 season. And then he should have fucking known about soccer. Like he's way too ignorant, and it's so frustrating. And then he has that fake shrooms trip where, he has the breakthrough and he understands, total football. And I really like everything that does with the team. I think that my favorite thing about the season, I think my favorite thing about the entire show is the soccer team and like the dynamics within that. And I think they've done an excellent job. Like Roy and Jamie, like the best 3-season friendship arc.
It's the best bromance.
It's so fucking good. And it's so satisfying this season, having them be closer. And in this most recent episode, when Jamie gives him his jersey that he played with in the World Cup, but then he changed the E in Kent to U. It's like, it's so perfect. Like they totally are friends and respect and like love each other. And it's like, it's so sweet. And like just the way they're training. And like, I think they did such a fantastic job. I think both of their individual arcs, their friendship arc, but especially Jamie, man. Like, remember season 1, what a fucking wiener he was? I fucking love Jamie now. He's fucking incredible.
He's literally the best breakout character in season 3. Because he was a wiener boy in 1. He was getting kind of redemption before he got traded to Man City.
I think even by the end of 1, he was like, learning a little bit.
And then 2, he was still kind of a wiener boy at the beginning. And then I think it was back when he started to beg to come back to Richmond. Then you can kind of start seeing him changing and becoming a better person and just growing up. Like, honestly, he grew up and in such in a good way. Because now there was like times where I'm like, oh God, I hope they don't do the Keely love fucking triangle. And it got close. There was some parts I'm like, oh God, Jamie and Keely are going to get back together, because Roy and Keely broke up. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
stop. And it was just like, he just goes, I acknowledge myself as I was an idiot and I love you and hopefully we can still be friends. I'm like, what a great and mature way.
That was a fucking fantastic moment where, so it's in the episode that, you know, Keely's sex or like nude video gets out.
Yeah.
And, you know, everyone does a really shitty job coming to support her. Like Jack, you know, is like, I'm going to take care of it. And then later in the episode, all she gets is the statement of being like, I'm really sorry for having done that. And it's like, fuck you. Like, there's nothing wrong with having done that. The thing that was wrong was the people hacking. Like, there's nothing wrong with sending nudes to your partner. And then Roy is like, oh, I'm sorry it happened. The two. And it was just like kind of super weird and inappropriate. And it was like, oh, God.
Yeah.
And then Jamie is the one who shows up and is like, I'm so fucking sorry. It was super irresponsible for me. I delete all that stuff, but I obviously fucked up and like left it in the email. It is my fault. I'm sorry. And one of the things I saw this on like Twitter or whatever. I didn't make this connection myself, but his arc was learning to take accountability for himself. And in the first season, like Keely says that specifically, is like, you have to take accountability for your mistakes. And now he is. And like, he's come so far and he's so great and he's so funny. And he's still cocky. Like they did such a good job of still maintaining that, like, that's Jamie Tart, dude. And like, he's still like a cocky dude, but he has so much heart and empathy and understanding. Like he's had such a fantastic arc.
It's just poopy.
Yeah. And so the same way, I think Roy has had an amazing arc, especially season 1 and 2. My complaints is that I think the show is focusing on the wrong people in season 3. And it's spending so much time on these storylines that don't really matter to me. Like, you know, Keely and Jack, like that Keely is bisexual and that she was dating Jack. And it seemed okay, but I could tell the show really know what to do with that storyline because they kept telling us that, you know, Jack is a bad person without showing it to us. Like when Keely goes to Rebecca and she's like, oh, she got me this gift. And Rebecca's like, be careful. That's love bombing. Rupert love bombed me. And it's like the show's telling you that that's a red flag. But I'm like, I don't get that sense. And like, that feels like super like bad writing. And where they take Jack, like it had no direction and it didn't really feel like they had a vision for what the story was for that. Yeah. And I still don't really. So now we've come to the end of it. You know, Keely's like, yeah, well, you know, Jack's in Argentina. And Jack slut shamed her, was too worried about like the appearance of from the outside. And it was like, why is this like this? And I felt like it was really cheap writing where they didn't really know what to do. And like, it wasn't a realistic portrayal of like what a lesbian relationship would have been like. Yeah. And I just thought they spent a lot of time developing that relationship and it goes nowhere and it accomplished so little for me. And I felt really disappointed because I was like, hey, great representation. We're fucking cool. We have a whole other gay storyline in the show that I think is so much fucking better. Actually has a point and goes somewhere. So
yeah, it's just with Jack was just so she was such a maybe no offense to the actress. Maybe it's just the writing was really bad. It just felt like such a like a North American storyline was like shoved into British writing, which the writer was like probably like, I don't know, they're telling me to do this and I have no idea what I'm doing. I guess I'll just shove her here. And because she had no personality, it was just like more like, I love you. I'm just going to shower you money because I'm rich like this. And then my dad and the board said this. And then you got like things just like kept happening. And it was like, no, maybe it's the one big thing. There was no consequences on Jack. Like, yes, she broke up. She just did all these things. And then she kind of gets away with it scot-free. There's no consequences that I see that Jack gets. I didn't see Rebecca going, oh, is that what's going to happen? Well, fuck banter. We're going to drop them as possible. Like there's no bad things happening to Jack. And I think that's what I just didn't like. It just kept happening. And hopefully enough by the end, something bad happens to banter because that's her baby. But
well, I can't imagine they say in the last episode, you know, like that's it, she's gone. But I can't imagine that's truly true. Because if it is, it honestly, it feels like a 90s or 2000s show where the episodes were being written as the show was being shot. Yeah. And they got like, you know, they shot the first 8 episodes and they realized like the 4th episode started coming out and they're like, people don't like this character. Oh, we got to write him off. We're going to write this character off. And it felt like almost like a write-off the way that she turns 100%. From like a nice character to a bad character and then just like totally ditches. And it was like,
she just becomes a text message. It's like literally last thing he says was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Time zone's really shitty. I didn't have a say. The board's really shitty. I'm so sorry." I'm like, oh, I guess that's it. But here's the thing: is that one thing I just did not like. It's kind of yes and no. I kind of like Keely in this season. I kind of don't, because she seems really kind of like directionless a little bit, because she kept kind of going
I agree.
everywhere.
I think like last season was bad bitch Keely's season, where she's like got vision and she's like, I'm gonna make this happen. And then this season it's like she kind of has the thing she wanted, but she gets kind of thrown around by the forces around her. Like it doesn't feel like she's anchored. And like I like the storyline. I like the potential the storyline with her friend Pad, her like
the Shandy
kind of loose cannon friend.
Shandy, I was like, oh cool, it's gonna be cool, like she's gonna go back to her roots and this is kind of edgy marketing, but they also wrote her off
and they're like, oh, actually she's kind of bad. And I like where they take her and Barbara. I think that's a very sweet friendship, and I'm into that. Although there was kind of the weird writing of like I like, so if you guys haven't watched it, Barbara collects snow globes from all the cities that she's worked in, because she's used to being made the CFO of a company, going to work there for a bit, and then it closed down. She's got to move again. And so when the company's closing, he goes and buys her a snow globe as like an act of like kindness and friendship, and gives it to her. And she's like, well, this doesn't count because like I have to buy it. And then she pulls out 20 pounds, gives it to Keely, and Keely's like, it was 60 pounds. And I feel like it was just weird. Like that whole the expansion of the interaction was weird. I like the I have to buy it. And she like, pulls out 20 quid, and that should have been it. They should have like smiled and that would have been it. But they're like, no, it's actually 60. It was like, what? Why?
Yeah, Barbara was kind of like the surprise hit, because I thought she was going to be like the office grouch. And until that's like, you kind of expected her until like she loves Rebecca. She's the owner of Richmond. And then there's also all these other points where like she's just really cold to Keely. Like they just get along until near the end. And when she came in to the office, the pack, which I found fucking hilarious. She's wearing like the old school, like late or early 2000s, like that weird felt tracksuits that have weird writing, and her butt's juicy. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like you learn something about Barbara, and she's like, oh, that's funny. It's like, I only wear what's true. It's like, oh, Barbara, you're so cool.
I know. I love seeing Barbara unleashed. And so I'm a big fan. But which? Oh
no, yeah. So I mean, like that relationship's really good. But yeah, continue on, because I have something else I wanted to say about something completely different.
So I think I like the KJDR or whatever it's called company storyline. It's fine. I think it's cute, but it didn't really accomplish as much as I want. I was mad at Ted. I think like he just sucks. I
miss my son. Yes, I get it. You miss your son.
And I like, when I like the end of the episode when his son's visiting and, the doctor like goes to high five him and the son's like, nah. Like, there's little moments that are fine, but I think like they've spent way too much energy and time on that. And I forgot that like they weren't already broken up. I thought it was like long in the past, like they had moved past the breakup period and were friends again. And so I was like, this doesn't add anything to the show. And I feel like the show just, like I've said earlier in this episode, the show doesn't know what to prioritize. And so it's spent time on characters and arcs that I don't think really matter or pay off. Ted is definitely a character that they finished arc in season 1. And season 2, I felt the same. But season 3, I feel like they don't really know what to do with him. Obviously, he's important. The show's called Ted Lasso. But in season 1, they had such a clear vision for what his character was going to do. And he doesn't need to have a big arc. He's an iconic character in the sense that he's like immovable, and it's his positivity and his love that'll change the people around him. But then after that, they need to change him. And so they explore his vulnerability with mental illness and panic attacks in season 2, which I liked, but felt really heavy handed. Season 3, they just like don't know what to fucking do with him.
I did like season 2 and how they brought him in as kind of addressing the stereotypical American male or North American male who's on mental health. And then you see kind of like it does peel back to Ted, because when you look at Ted as a character, he's just very like really flat. Like when you think about it, he'll joke around things. He's really hard. He won't talk about difficult things. But they brought in the therapist, and you can see that, oh, he's actually has a lot of depth, or maybe perceived depth. as he's kind of like this because of his father's suicide, which I was like, whoa, like that's really big. But here's my problem. You have this whole situation, even the beginning of season 3, of the doctor there, and then she's fucking gone. And I'm like,
yeah, well,
why?
She's in a Skype call in the first episode, and then that's it. Like, what? It's just I was like, so confused.
So it's just like, yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like, they didn't understand like how to like deal with Ted in season 3. Like, I think, yes, they needed him to learn about football, and it's really, I think, condescending to people who are diehard fans who are watching ball, like European or UK football.
Yeah.
And then you see Ted Lasso is like, yeah, my son and I learned a lot about soccer or football by playing a lot of FIFA. I'm like, holy shit. It's like, no, that's a bad way of like learning a game that's passionate to people's like generation. So
it feels like, someone, you know, like, oh, I played a lot of StarCraft. That means I'm a good army general.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just like, like, how much did EA pay you to say FIFA in per episode? Like, because they say FIFA quite a bit.
I mean, FIFA, it won't be called FIFA next year. It's going to be called something else because they lost the night. I don't know. I think it's like EA football or something because FIFA basically asked for like 10, I can't remember the number, but some exorbitant fee to maintain FIFA licensing.
Those guys are crooks anyways.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone is like, FIFA's a good organization.
Yeah, no.
But anyways, so yeah, I feel like Ted is totally directionless.
Yeah.
I think the team is great. I like all the dynamics. I think Sam, that story that they've done with him is fucking fantastic.
Oh, it's a good
like opening
story.
the restaurant, all the family, his dad showing up after his restaurant had been vandalized because he kind of got into it on Twitter or whatever. And I like the way it built up because like it felt super realistic, like him being kind of like moderate in his response, being like, hey, do better. And the person's like, fuck you. And he's like, fuck you. And then the people attack his restaurant.
Yeah.
But then, he cries and his dad's there and it's like this very sweet, vulnerable moment. And I really like it. And then when he goes to show his dad the beat up restaurant and his team's there fixing it, I thought that might be my favorite moment in the entire season. I just fucking love that.
And then you also find out that the restaurant's named after his dad.
Yeah.
It was so good. And then
that was so sweet.
For me, here's actually one thing I have a gripe about Sam. That I don't know what else to go. Well, episode 10, he had a lot of direction, which is really great. He had a lot of growth in that episode. I hate the fucking him, Rebecca, and the chef that he has. I'm like, stop this. It ended. Stop bringing it back up. Like, I'm sick of this.
Yeah, every time him and Rebecca meet in the hallway and they're like, oh, excuse me. Oh. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like, that was such a bad storyline when it was happening. It was like, this is stupid. And every time, literally every time they bring it up, it's like, just fucking move on. It's not funny. I love Rebecca. She's one of my favorite characters in the whole show. I don't think season 3 is doing her justice. I think that Amsterdam episode sucked.
It was okay.
Most of it was okay. Yeah. Her part sucked. That romance was super forced and weird and uncomfortable. And I didn't really buy that she would be, falling for this guy. I liked that they didn't have sex. It was just like a comfortable night.
Did they have sex?
They didn't.
I don't know, because Jillian said that they had sex. I was like, really? I thought she said no.
They say specifically that they didn't have sex.
Okay, good.
And that's the thing. And I like that, where it's like, love doesn't have to be this passionate, sensual thing. That can be part of it, but it's also like another dimension to it. And I think that was good. But I think the actor they got for it, he must be like some famous,
Amsterdam
actor or something. Because he wasn't very like, I didn't think he was
okay.
Good.
He was it felt like a very Dutch kind of acting. Cause like I've watched some Dutch movies because it's action, and I think what's his name?
Nicholson?
Like I've seen his movies and he has like same kind of vibe to him. Yeah, he's very handsome. Very handsome.
Oh, he's a great actor too, though.
Yeah, very great actor. Oh yeah, no, he was in Rogue One. Yeah, that like he has that kind of demeanor. But it's just like, I just felt like weird, and I didn't like how Rebecca's like, they're trying to make her like her mom with the fucking fortune telling psychic thing.
I think that whole storyline, it's super stupid and simple, and like I understand they need to explore her insecurities because she's this bad bitch woman. She presents that, and she often is a bad bitch woman, and she's fucking awesome. Need to show like someone who's able to see the inside, but I feel like a fortune teller storyline is just stupid. And like,
Yeah. See,
I don't like that. Like, you know, the green matchbook, the knight, like, oh, the shite and nining armor stuff. It's like, this is just like stupid.
It's like, what did you say? Oh my God, you said that.
What did you say?
Yeah.
I was like, come on, this is dumb.
I think the only good episode of Rebecca so far was episode 10, when she goes after the Rupert and the Fuko League, the Super League that they kind of pitched. Cause I think it was like everything she said was so true, and how she dealt with it. Cause like when she did the whole like, oh, if you want to feel confident, look in the mirror and be big. And you can see like those a split take of it's like her as a kid and doing the same, like, oh, making really big. And she becomes confident, and everyone's like telling her, it's like, don't have to be afraid, because all those old rich guys used to be little boys.
Yeah. And that shot of them as little boys in suits, I thought it was a great shot.
It actually, I was like, I thought about it. I'm like, wow, that is such a good mental tactic when you go into a meeting and you feel unconfident. And I actually used it the other day, and I was like,
nice.
This is a good thing. Cause I do meetings like 4 or 5 days, 4 or 5 a day. And it's like, yeah, like some meetings I'm really confident. Some meetings I'm like, oh, like I'm talking to the CEO of this company. I feel freaked out. And you just have to remember, everyone's a human being. Like that's all it is. And also the best way is the closing the door between Rebecca and Rupert.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was watching with Cassie, and she's like, if they hook up right now, I'm done. I'm not watching the show anymore. And he goes in for like a kiss, and she's like, no, gross.
You're like,
and I was like, thank God they're not taking that direction. Cause like the show has done some shitty tricks like that where you're like, are they going to do that? Oh, fuck, they are doing that.
No.
And the big one for me in regards to that is the whole Nathan redemption arc. Jesus fucking Christ. It is the least efficient redemption arc I've ever seen. And I don't fucking care. Like, I knew as soon as they set him up at the villain at the end of season 2, he was going to have a redemption arc and he was going to be good. But I would have been okay if his redemption arc was like episode 2, and it's when he has a chance to talk to Ted. He like goes and talks to him, and he's like, he's become more confident, and he's like, hey Ted, I'm really sorry for the way things are. Would love to hang out. And they hang out and they become friends, and like, you know, they're competitive because they're on other sides. And maybe Nathan can teach Ted to be competitive and, you know, get angry when he needs to. But Ted can also show kindness and love in the same way that he always had. And it just feels so long and fucking drawn out. And him with his partner, like, I like her, but I don't fucking care. And it's just so extended. And it's basically the main plot of the show is Nathan and his partner and like his own insecurity. And there's moments that are fine. There's moments that are good. Like this episode when he plays, you know, the violin and his dad comes in and he finally connects with his dad. That is a good moment, but it is not worth the amount of time that show is spent developing his redemption arc. I thought it was like, it's insane how much that show was invested into that character.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree on the fact, like, okay, so I agree that it took way too long. It should not be 10 episodes. It should have been at most 5. Most 5, and you got to call it a day. I did kind of like Nate's how he got to the point, like his hero's arc, because he was like, you can see Rupert trying to corrupt him. Like he's just trying to be the buddy and like, try to get him to cheat on his girlfriend because his girlfriend is like anti-Rupert. He's like, his girlfriend, that's one reason I like her, because she's so stone cold. Like she's
love that. I did love that line when she meets Rupert and she's like, well, he seems very wealthy. Yeah, very I thought that was such a good little read of him. Like, it's like, normally you're like, oh, he seems nice, or like, oh, wow, he's, you know, got this trait. It's like, yes, he's a rich asshole. Okay.
She's like, when you actually think about it, it makes sense, because like she's a person that can see through people. Like that's like when you first meet her with Nate, the Taste of Athens and all this kind of shit. And she can see through Nate is very unconfident, and that's why she wasn't really interested in him. But also there's all these little things. Like I think, yes, 100% too long, but I did like how Nate kind of like rejects Rupert, quits the club, and also like when he rejects him at the club and finds his girlfriend or finds his partner and has that moment of like, oh my God, like he went so close to the dark side and got freaked out. Like I like something about that scene in the hallway and hugging. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. Like that's a really good lesson.
I did really like that. You're right. I like when, you know, he goes to the bar and there's this beautiful tall model women and Rupert's like, you know, hang out with him. It's a guy's night, if you know what I mean. And it's like, and he walks away. Like, I liked that. But I also thought quitting the team was like not necessary.
I think he
like,
just,
like, to me, the jump between, like, they spent 9 episodes getting us to the point where he stands up to Rupert. I don't think it takes 9 episodes to get us there. I think it could have been 1 or 2 episodes of like, man, I don't really like this. Or like, I like when he tries to call the Diamond Dogs meetings with his club. And he like calls the 2 people, and like, it's not the same as the Diamond Dogs with Ted Lasso. I like that. I think you can do, you know, like the stuff where he's clearly craving the connection he had at Richmond, and he learns to stand up to Rupert much sooner. But then there should have been more between that and him quitting. I think there should have been like 3 steps of like Rupert not liking that he's standing up to him, or like that he's not just easily manipulated. He's not a dog on a leash anymore. And I think we needed a few more episodes or interactions where that leads to Nate being like, I have to leave. Like, I can't be part of this. Because that felt a little rushed and unrealistic and
100%.
Very writery to me. Very contrived.
It just felt like, they just didn't know what they wanted to do. They felt very confused. And then, and they were just like, okay, well, I guess we'll do it now. Hopefully enough, we prepared enough. And then, you know, it's like, because Rupert can charm everyone. Everyone loves Rupert. I think it's like Ted, everyone in Richmond, Ted and Rebecca, Keely, like everyone can see through, like, okay, you are a bad guy. And I think that's the kind of like thing. And I have a feeling that, you know, Nate's going to come back to Richmond. Actually, wait, okay, here's my prediction, because I think this is the last season of Ted Lasso. I think they're not doing anymore.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the final season. So there's only 2 more episodes and then it's done.
Yeah, so this is my prediction. Once again, thank God. Was Ted's gonna leave. He's gonna go back to America and reconcile with his wife, because that's a thing. I think that's a poo-poo move.
I want him to, you know, be a big part of his son's life and go and reconnect there. But I think it's much more mature when they just like stay as friends with his wife. Like, I don't want it to rekindle a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, you know, the possibility down the road to explore it, but I don't want it to be a romantic thing.
Yeah. And I think it's just be his part where, like, okay, Ted Lasso has to go on his own. He has to just leave and just be the coach, his assistant coach, Coach Beard, is going to stay because of his girlfriend, Jane. And Nate's going to come Ted Lasso. Like, he learns the Ted Lasso way with actually knowing how to play soccer or doing soccer. I think that's my prediction. I thought also Keely was going to come back as being the PR person for Richmond too, but I guess in a way she will be, but I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just, the season's getting better, but it took fucking too long.
Yeah. It almost felt like they didn't know how to fill 13 episodes or 12 episodes or whatever. And it should have been 8. But then at the other hand, they've spent all this time wasted on these shitty character slots. But the season starts with Keely and Roy breaking up. And I thought that was really fucking amateur the way they handled it, where they don't really explain why they're breaking up. They're just kind of like breaking up. And it's like the show did a really poor job showing us why it was the right move, or like why they felt like breaking up was the right thing.
Yeah.
And now they might be getting back together. But I'm like, so wait, we don't know why they broke up. You wrote this shitty filler love storyline that sucked, and then they're back together. Okay, sure. It sucks because I love Keely and Roy. Like, before the season, they were probably one of my favorite dynamics of the show.
Yeah.
But they've totally just mishandled this whole arc. And maybe they end up together. They fucked in this episode.
Yeah, but they definitely slept together. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't know if like they're gonna get back together. I think I would rather Keely and Roy than Keely and Jamie. I think that would be fucking infuriating.
Yeah, I think Jamie should. I don't want to see him in a relationship. I just want him to be the best football player you could have in England, because, like, you know, he's showing up.
I want him to be. Yeah, and he's been working his ass off with Roy, and so I think he deserves to be a superstar and like to be like recognized as like not just a good player, but like an important player.
Yeah. Oh, there's one thing I do want to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Remember when Zava was like everything?
Fuck.
And now like, he's just gone. That's another character that feels just like written off. And that's not the way that this kind of serialized show works.
Yeah.
Where they rate the whole season before. They know what's happening. And like maybe he's going to come back in the end. Like I thought Zava was going to go help Richmond reach a certain level and then be like, see, I'm the best. And then he was going to somehow get suckered into joining Rupert's team.
Yeah, West Ham.
And that might still happen, but it's just like they spent so much time on that storyline and then like it doesn't really matter. Like the team just kind of connects anyway. And so it felt like just so much effort and time spent on this plot.
I think for a sports, like if you're going to look at it like a sports kind of way, he was just there so Richmond's not dead last, so they couldn't come back. Like they needed some sort of like vehicle to show that Richmond isn't total shit and they could still kind of compete in the top 5. And he was just the vehicle. But it's just so stupid. I 100% agree. Like he was such a waste of time. But granted, it kind of, the one thing I did like is that it showed Jamie kind of stepping up and being really mature because he's like, we don't need Zava, guys. Like, stop worshipping this guy. Yeah. We just need this and we need to do this. And it's like, you start seeing that change in Jamie, which is there's only 2 good things for Zava. Kept Richmond in the top 5. I'm treating them like a real fucking team. But, but also Jamie's just like becoming a leader or kind of like leading the group in some sort of total way. Because he does eventually teaches them that, hey, don't just kick the ball to me to expect me to score. Use me as a distraction. Use me, play through me, and I'll support
exactly.
you guys.
Yeah,
which is great.
I thought that was I totally like that. And he's kind of like the death of the ego is allowed him to become a better, more important player than he ever could have before. Yeah. But the last thing that I want to talk about, and I think it's mostly good, but I had qualms, is the reveal that Colin is gay. And the way that he's outed to the team. I think I'm okay with like the way they present it. You know, he's got like suitors at his house and stuff. I like that Trent is the one that finds out and Trent is also gay and that they're able to connect and he's able to kind of mentor him as like an older gay man. He's able to kind of communicate and help him through it. And I really like that it wasn't like Trent is the reporter. He's like, I found out that the star is gay.
He's
and
gay.
Then he outs some shit like that. Much prefer that it's like a warm, comfy storyline of like, hey, there's a lot of stuff going on at the right time. Like, this is good. And then Isaac is the first one to find out because, you know, they are talking about deleting all the nudes on their phone and Colin leaves to delete the phones. And then Isaac is like, and he kind of like puts up resistance because he's kind of unsure how to present around these issues. And Isaac is like, no, you're going to delete it. And he grabs it and he goes to delete the photos and it's all nudes of men. Yeah. And so he knows that he's gay and he kind of just like hands him the phone and walks away. And I'm okay with that because at first, you know, the show is trying to pretend like Isaac's a bigot and he doesn't like him. But I knew pretty much right away that the story was going to be Isaac being like, I feel like I let you down because you couldn't trust me with this. Like, what about me made it that it wasn't safe to come to me? And I was fine with that. But then they drag it on too long and they do a few too many scenes of like Isaac being an asshole. Yeah. No, I like the epilogue. I really like when they do the like they go to he goes up at his house and he's like, I'm sorry. And they play FIFA and stuff. Like that's good. Yeah. But like there's a few too many like Colin like trying to be like, hey Isaac, like what's up? And Isaac being like and walking away. And the one that I think is a step too far in terms of like bad writing or bad writing. I know. Is when they go to the huddle and he puts his hand on top of his hand and he pulls it away. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, that's just like bullshit, fake writer, like, you know, misdirection. And it felt so insincere and so contrived. And I was like, this is so unnecessary and poor writing.
Yeah. It just felt so forced. And it felt like very 2000s writing of like how to handle gay issues. Because it was like, I grew up in that TV world of like, you know, just all these things like, hey, you should support gay people. And it felt very peasantry, like very like basic levels. Like, yeah, they're gay, treat them well. Don't treat them different. What I really loved about that whole thing, like 100% agree, took too long. I kind of liked how he got ejected from the game. Like, I think I like that part because it's like, you can't say the F word. And everyone's just like, it's like, hey, he's one of us. I can't believe they're fighting against a fan. And then they all kind of reveal and find out. Even like the fans find out and they're like, oh, fuck that guy. Like, no, that guy's not cool. Yeah. But one thing that really kind of killed me and made me kind of realize it was I grew up in the world where like I do have a lot of friends who are gay, lesbian, trans and everything. And I've always said this. And then Ted's story about saying you don't care kind of hit me in a way that I wasn't expecting. Because I was like, oh shit, like maybe I didn't care. I thought not caring was my way of supporting someone. but I should have cared in a way that it doesn't bother me, but I should care to support them because even though they come out, one of my friends came out, they feel very alone.
100%. And like, it's funny, you can tell he's fumbling through the metaphor.
Yeah.
And it's funny, they undercut it a little bit, but that metaphor of like, oh yeah, this guy liked the Denver Broncos. Yeah. And so like, I just, I tolerated him. I let him like the Denver Broncos, but he's at home eating 7-layer dip all by himself. And it's like, no, that's not, not caring isn't supporting. Yeah. Like you say, it's being there for someone and showing support and like helping them through it is so much more important. And so I did like that speech too. Like they're all like, I don't care. And he's like, no, wait, I do care. And that's what this means. Yeah. And I think that's a good angle. Yeah. But I remember, and I like bits of it because I like that Isaac is such a emotionally stunted guy in some ways. Because in some ways he's pretty mature and like he's a good leader. That he feels this deep frustration. And when the guy says the F slur, he fucking loses it. And I'm like, I like that. I'm glad that, it's like, it is what it is. But I just feel like because they had done so many interactions between him and Colin, where Isaac was like, no, I don't like you. It just felt just so writery and like almost preachery in a way where I'm like, if you had gotten here faster, if Isaac had immediately, like he'd walked away, taken a minute and been like, here's why I'm upset because I thought we were best friends and you've been lying to me. And they get there, but it takes like 2 episodes. And I'm like, come on.
I think they could have just done it really right away. And then if they just change it, it's like, they just said it really quickly. Yeah. That's the reason why he's mad and it'll take him time to kind of forgive him. I think that would have been fine. It's like, don't make me kind of wonder why he's mad. Just come out with it.
It's not realistic. So many interactions.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Anyways,
that's kind of
what's your predictions for the rest of the season? I think West Ham and Richmond will have to face off in some kind of final form. Yeah. I think that Zava might show up on West Ham.
Zava 100% will show up back at West Ham because Rupert just wants to destroy Rebecca because Rebecca rejected him. He doesn't get rejected. He doesn't like that. Nate's going to join back on the team. And then Rupert's just going to go full out and try to take them down. And then at the end, Ted's going to leave.
I actually think it could be that way. I think that's a very valid prediction. I could also see, this is what I kind of hope for, although it might be not enough time left in the season.
I think I know what you're talking about. They're
going to try and redeem Rupert to a certain extent. They're going to try and like give him a human edge. Because even this episode was kind of the first time where Rebecca broke through to him. And like, you see the human in him for the first time. And so he might be the villain, but he might just get, a little humanity injected into that character. Yeah. I think you're right. What Nate will come back to Richmond. Yeah. And he kind of already did. He did all the jerseys, right? Yeah. He did the kit boy stuff.
He's like, I'm sorry. It's like, which is nice.
Yeah. And so I think you're right there. Yeah. I think Keely and Roy don't end up together, but I think they're like, hey, maybe let's try. But maybe he ends up with a teacher. I don't know. I hope they didn't bring her back just for like one flirty thing and then for him to realize he liked Keely. That seems rude.
Yeah, it's just so weird. But yeah, I think these last 2 episodes are going to be big. I think the last episode is probably going to be a very long, probably an hour and a half.
Yeah, probably like an hour and a half, like movie.
But yeah, I think. Yeah, I would like to see like a Rupert story, like just like kind of explaining Rupert because like just how he is. Because if you're gonna have a human mature story, you need to show his side. He's just not always an ass. Because when Rebecca was telling the story about like how he
broke into the stadium,
he punched that he got beat up by the guard and kind of bought the team 25 years later. I thought that was such a good story. Granted, I thought he was rich. The start.
His whole life?
Yeah. So I was like, but I guess not, but kind of weird, but okay.
So I think he was rich as long as he knew Rebecca, but he had told her stories from before when he was poor. And so I think that's like a story from before she knew him, but that's a story that he has told her many times or that she knew of or something.
So yeah, I think that's what the story's going to happen. I think it's just, I don't think they're going to have enough time to do it, but here's the thing. Here's the kind of big thing, but I'm kind of scared what Apple's going to do is doing the Netflix thing. It's going to make 1 million spinoffs of that show.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Like, God, I hope it's not a Nate spinoff. That's like, they've already spent too much time on that character. And so I could see Roy Kent and Jamie maybe could support a show.
Oh, maybe they're just.
But I hope not. I hope they just let it rest. Like
Yeah.
This show, I am definitely still enjoying the show, even though, you know, I have specific criticisms around the writing and mostly writing.
Yeah.
But I'm very happy to watch it.
Yeah.
Every week I'm like, nice, new episode of Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
But if they kept going, I think that would run out. The same way that happened with Cobra Kai, where I fucking loved Cobra Kai.
We've
up
talked
until
about
like
how
season
much
3, season 4.
Yeah.
And then it just kept going. And it's like, they know where, like, you can tell they know where they want the story to end. And I feel like Ted Lasso, they have an end for the season that's going to be strong. I think it'll be an emotionally satisfying, strong ending for the season. And they're going to get us there. But I think they don't, the weakness of this season is that they're not sure the best path to get there. And they've taken the long road and they'll get there. But
they had, I think for me, they had a conflict of North American TV styling with English British style. If they just left it British style, the show would have been perfect. Because I love British television, because the fact that you understand stories need to end. They can't just be fucking milked to oblivion. Office, even though I don't like Office at all. But like the British Office ended like after like 3 seasons, which apparently was really
the
good.
British shows are much better for that. Because even like Doctor Who, there's like 15 seasons or whatever, but each Doctor only gets like 2-3 seasons.
They kind of understand how to end Doctor Who well. Like that's
well, and like having less means that each episode is more.
Yeah.
And it's like the more you get, like there's a sweet spot, obviously. Like a sitcom needs a certain amount for you to be able to like watch it over and over.
Yeah.
So it's like Friends needed maybe not 11 seasons or whatever, but like you need 7-ish seasons for it to be an endlessly rewatchable show.
Yeah.
But things to be good, they need, especially stuff that's serialized.
Yeah.
You need a good ending and you need to get there. And Ted Lasso, I think, is doing that. Cobra Kai, it's clear where they want to end it. They want Daniel LaRusso and Johnny whatever to team up, have like the ultimate understanding of balance of like that, like you have to have inner peace, but like you have to fight back and you have to have this perfect melding. And then these kids can grow and be the best version of themselves. And like all these threads that were so close to the end, but they keep on like almost getting us there. And then they're like, well, we need another season. So, oh shit, we're reverting back to a previous state. We're doing the same story again. We're doing the same story again. We're doing the same story again.
Yeah.
And so when they have an end in mind, get there. And I'm much more appreciative of getting there. And so I appreciate that with Ted Lasso, that they're going to cut it off at 3 seasons.
Yeah, I think
hopefully will be it.
I think it's just like the kind of saying, it's like, you know, Europeans grew up with artwork that has only like 5 or 10 prints of that same piece. And that's what makes it really special. North America will just take a photo of it and reprint it until no one buys it anymore. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes. But
totally. Well,
So that's Ted Lasso. That is a little bit Cobra Kai, but we've talked about that a ton.
Yeah, we won't talk too much.
We can go on forever on Cobra Kai.
I think I'm ready to watch the last 2 seasons because the new season's coming out soon. So I think I need to watch season 5, and then 6 is supposed to be the last one.
I haven't watched it since partway season 4.
Yeah, it's kind of just been that ever since. Yeah, because like the best was the end of season 2, like the high school rumble. Mm-hmm. That was peak Cobra Kai. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and I remember being like jaw on the floor because I couldn't believe it was happening. Anyway, we've talked about Cobra Kai. We won't talk about Cobra Kai. Let's talk about the biggest thing in the whole planet right now.
Zelda. It's Zelda, the game that has sold already 10 million units under a week. It is over fucking whelming. Oh my god, I don't know what to do with the game. So I kind of had to jump through a lot of steps. But I'll talk about the game first. So the game kind of starts off right after Breath of the Wild. Full disclosure, I haven't personally beat Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Jillian
but you probably watched like
I watched Jillian did it and I knew it, and I watched like I started playing it. I'm like, I don't know anything what this means. I don't know what Zonan, or I don't know Hyrulean. I'm gonna pause this, and I watched like Nintendo's like recap video. I'm like, okay, got it, go. And then I started watching, and man, the game is basing off Breath of the Wild on steroids and a bit of Minecraft and Cabal Space Program. So me being an adult, I don't have the same amount of time to play the game, but also the fact too, I don't have a TV. Well, I do have a TV. I'm sharing with Jillian. Usually enough in my old house, I would have multiple ways to play it. I could play on my computer, in my computer monitor, I can play it there, or I could go upstairs or in my basement. On the Switch, you cannot do because it's just too small. It's just like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, but it feels like I'm so clunky with the controls. I'm like, I can't play it. So our good friends at N60 is sending us a Canvas 27Q monitor. So once I get that, I will play the game again, because right now I'm on a pause because I was just like, it's too small. It's too small.
Also, the performance in handheld seems like it's not super good.
But the performance, I mean, I hope, that's one thing I wanted to comment. The performance of the game is so terrible, because there was a mode that you've probably seen, and everyone has probably seen this, is that you can attach things. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. The
Ultra Arm.
Ultra Arm, yeah. So
I think it's called Ultra Arm.
So you can build things. So essentially enough with this game, instead of Breath of the Wild, you can kind of slow time and kind of like pause things, and then you can kind of use physics.
Throw an ice block and a couple physics powers and shit.
It's really cool. It's really simple, really easy. This one is just like, I'm kind of really intimidated, because now I feel like every problem, I'm like, oh, I watch other people play and they're like making robots, and I'm like, oh, I need to cross a bridge. I'm just going to make a couple of logs and just put them together. I'm guessing someone's going to invent a really cooler way to do it. And I feel so inadequate. I'm just playing the game just so I can get through it, and I'm having a good time. The gameplay is still good. Like, it's if you love Breath of the Wild, you're going to love this game. But it was like points where it's like, I made a raft, but it's not cool like everyone's showing off on Twitter and Instagram and Reddit. And it just makes me feel so bad about myself. It's just like, man, but granted, I haven't even got past the tutorial. Like, I'm still on the fucking islands, and just everyone's like, like the tutorial is going to be really long. Cause what I really like too is the fuse ability, as you can get like a sword and you can look at a rock and fuse it together. And now you have a hammer. And I'm like, oh, super cool. And then you can fuse things to your shield, to your bow. And it's just like, the game is just like literally cracked out for that reason, is that now instantly Nintendo has found, quick replayability. You can probably play this game until you die, and you probably wouldn't have done everything.
Think like, just like Breath of the Wild, and to a way higher extent of this one, the freedom they give players to solve problems however they want is absolutely incredible. And like, I was reading an article from the designer, I believe, and he says like, who doesn't love cheating in video games? So why wouldn't we like design cheating into the game? And like, that's really what it is. They give you like this incredible tool set, and you can just fucking cheat your way and do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I saw a great clip of like someone using the recall power to propel a raft so they could get to a platform they weren't supposed to get to till way later in the game.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. I feel the same as you. I felt the same with with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Is I would watch these incredible clips and these incredible skill combinations and stuff, and it blew me away. And then when I would play, I couldn't do it. And like, that's on me. I wasn't good enough. And so I found my favorite way to enjoy Breath of the Wild was to watch people play. And I'm finding the same thing with Tears of the Kingdom, is it's really fun to watch people make stuff, and like small clips, like I saw a great one of like, the evolution of warships in
I watched that.
And it's just like, shooting mortars, and then it's like, a flight bomber, and then it's like advanced like drone bomber thing. And it's just like, holy shit, you can really fucking do anything. And like, even there's like a space race to get Koroks out into space. Or even silly things like crucifying Koroks. And it's like, it's just like, what is this game? And it's fucking incredible. Like, holy shit, I'm so happy for people. But it's like not generally what I want to do.
Like, I mean,
games. Like,
it's to me, like, when I play games, I mean, this is not me digging at the current state of games. Like, honestly, when I'm playing this whole game, back in my mind, it was like, fucking Minecraft. You fucking made this game. Like, this game, if Minecraft did not exist, this game would not exist. And to me, I'm like, spoiler alert, I've never touched Minecraft. I've watched Minecraft, but I've never actually like keyboard to mouse moved my character and hit a building. I've never done that. So
we're just old, Jono.
I'm just a boomer. I've told that everyone at the studio office, and they're like, "What the fuck?" But granted, I was saved by Marquez. Marquez is like, "I've never played Minecraft. I'm like, oh, yes.
Well, he's how old is he? He's like 30.
He's 28.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's relatively young, but he's not a gamer too. So, he's not a gamer. So,
my experience with Minecraft is I bought it when the hype was starting, like 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
I bought it when it was like the alpha or beta or whatever, and I played enough that I could mine, and I started mining down and finding diamonds and shit.
Yeah.
And then I mined far enough that I landed in lava and I died, and I was like,
yeah,
that's it. Probably like an hour.
To be fair, I played Terraria, and I really like Terraria because I was like easy because it's not 3D, it's 2D. But anyways, back to the game. So it's like, I just felt like I feel kind of bad for myself, but I'm really happy for the game because it's like I can see my nieces and nephew playing this game to death. And actually, I should really call them. I should really go talk to their moms and dads because I'd be like, I'll buy this game. I'll buy them all Switches so they can all play and like have this experience because it is an awesome, cool thing. Because actually, one thing I don't know if you've seen it, and I think you and I both have found of this movie is they did the Pacific Rim. They made the robot.
The kaiju
thing. Not the kaiju, but like they made what did he call Titans? Oh man, I'm black. But whatever, you can see them like they're doing it and like he's riding it and like punching things and like punching all the bosses. I'm like, this is sick. Granted, I think my favorite one was someone made a penis, made it fly around and like kill the boss. I'm like, that's the best. That is the best.
Yeah, thing. I think overall we're feeling the same. Like obviously this is a fucking masterpiece. It's incredible. I think like it's incredible what they've managed to put into a game that is so mainstream that so many people want to play. Yeah. Because it's most games, they meet you 90% of the way where it's like, you got to input some things, fight some people, but like the game's a pretty curated experience. But the fact that it's so open and you really can like the game relies on you to kind of not make your fun, but kind of, it's incredible that it's such good design that people connect with it, even though it's kind of a challenging game to make fun for yourself in a way.
Yeah, I kind of go like, this is where I think North American games a little bit fail. It's like, when they say that this game is really open world, you can do whatever you want, they mean it. Like, how Gears of War 5, the last one, they're like, it's open world. It's not really open world. Yeah. It's like, it's a little bit like, no, you lied. Like, but this game is truthful. 100%. It's pure. Here's my biggest gripe about it. They should not have released this game on the Switch. They should have made a new Switch with updated hardware because holy shit. Here's the problem is that when you do that Ultra Hand mode, the game fucking chugs, at least how I'm playing it. Like it chugs in every mode. It's because it's double buffered. It goes to like 20 frames a second very consistently. So I mean, like, how am I gonna play this game? It's just like some parts just feels like I'm attaching two logs together at the ends, and it's just like I'm like, oh my god, like what do I have to do something to like make this better?
Yeah, I'm a staunch defender of game and story matter more than graphics, but I also do think that video games are a technical medium. They're a visual medium. And so technical presentation matter. And I think it's disingenuous for people to be like, it doesn't fucking matter that it runs at 19 frames, 720p. It's like, you're right. Yeah. Like, it's still a fucking awesome game. You can still have fun. But like, why is it totally okay to like, why is this just like totally okay? Why are we not angry that Nintendo could be doing something about this and isn't? Yeah. And people are like, well, it's because the Switch isn't advertised to be strong. I'm like, it doesn't matter that it's advertised to be strong. Like, it's time for them to release a new Switch or release it on PC or do something because the experience is hindered by the hardware. And like, it's a miracle that they are able to make a game that is so fucking huge and incredible and beautiful on that hardware. The experience, and I think no one can disagree with this. And I think if they are disagreeing with this, I think they're being really disingenuous. Yeah. The experience is compromised by being on a Switch. Yeah. And it's great that it's a handheld thing you can play on the go and then put it in your dock and play. That's cool. Yeah. It's not enough. And like, we have these incredible handheld machines now, and the game is compromised because Nintendo doesn't want to sell a new hardware yet. Here's
the thing is that like, I don't care what the graphics of the games look. I think it's like, I'm like, those like part of the beginning, you jump off the island and you have the intro title sequence. I'm like, this is gorgeous. I don't care. It looks like
game.
Yeah, this is like 6-year-old graphics. I don't care. It looks great. Like I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But it's just like literally when those like moments where it just takes me out of the game because it's like, oh, the game's chugging. Hey, it's just like this makes me remember what line. I remember what Linus said. We had a conversation a long time ago. He's just like, yeah, the Switch was outdated when it was released. I was like, at first I had to think about that, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. I remember Breath of the Wild, that was the launch game, and that game fucking chugged.
This game, I think, is a good looking game. I think obviously there's technical limitations, like when you get up close to textures or you look into the distance and you see the water repeating tiles. It's like, it's a shame. It would be really cool if it looked better.
Yeah.
Overall, the impression and the art style is incredible. I think there's like a texture to the world that is missing. Like there's like a density in the the storytelling details that are missing in the world. Like when you go into a dungeon, it's just like gray, clean squares. And it's like, that's fine. It looks fine, but it's like, it would be so much cooler if there was like a little bit of like, wear and tear in these rooms and like a little bit of flow and ebb and like storytelling just from the design of the way things came together that is impossible on the Switch. And that's, it's fine. The game doesn't really suffer from it. Obviously, like that's not the most important thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's a shame that people are like, there is no compromise. Like these compromises don't matter. And I'm like, but the game could be better if they were able to do this. I'm not even saying like, we don't need like a 4K version, but it's like, just like something missing. It's because they have to make these compromises.
Yeah. It just felt like, I think probably the designers, probably the people like Miyamoto and everything, probably was like, we need a new Switch. And then it's just the CEO of Nintendo was like, we're not ready yet. We're not going to do it.
Yeah, it's still selling gangbusters.
Yeah, we need to launch this game because people want it. And, I'm not going to blame the team because they probably wanted the hardware just as
they wanted. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we'll put it on PC, please.
Yeah, because I mean, like honestly, like I was like back in my head going, maybe I should borrow that ROG Ally that we have at the office. Emulator. I know I'm breaking the law. But, I will.
Not if you buy the game.
Yeah, I bought the game, but it's just like it just felt like so disingenuous. Like the experience is just hurdled because of hardware, and it's just like you said, Nintendo just does not want to do anything about it, and that's so frustrating.
And I think I am with you in the sense of like it makes sense they don't want to do anything for so long because it was still the best selling console for so long. Why would you touch something that is the best selling console? Why would you mess with that? But now it's losing steam. And like, I'm sure this quarter is going to be insane. I'm sure they're going to sell 1 billion Switches. Yeah. But I think that like last year was the first year that it was like, it's not number one. Yeah. Like the PS5 is now outpacing the Switch. And it's like, that's crazy that it took that long for, the Switch to fall off and the PS5 to rise. But I think I'm sure it's been on their radar, but here's my theoretical chaos theory.
Yeah, I think you and I have the same theory because actually, wait, let me say it and see if
I'll tell you if it's what I'm thinking.
So this is my prediction. Is I was thinking about this on the drive home. Was like, did they release this game so they can sell all the current inventory of Switch and Switch OLEDs? We forgot about the Switch OLEDs. They didn't even improve the processor there. Which
that was a bummer. There's a Switch OLED, but it's exactly the same.
Yeah, super stupid. And then
also, the Switch OLED should have been the fucking light. They should have made a Switch OLED light because if I'm putting it in a dock, it doesn't fucking matter that's an OLED.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So they're trying to use this game to sell as many current inventory Switches out there before having to put them on clearance or discount. And then this fall, they're going to release whatever the Switch 2 is going to be called. Hopefully enough to have a clever name. And then they're like, oh, by the way, Zelda runs fucking dope on 4K. Yeah,
1080p 60, baby. Oh, 1080p. It'll never be, it won't be 4K. It'll be 1080p 60.
Yeah.
There'll be like a 1440p 30 mode, maybe. Because that's like PS4 Pro level. That won't be PS4. It'll be like PS4 level.
Yeah.
Mike, so I definitely agree with that sentiment of they want to make sure that they're selling the ones that they've built through. And I don't know what their inventory levels are like because COVID kind of fucked everything. But the Switch seemed to be a pretty consistent in stores kind of thing.
Yeah.
But my theory is they don't want it to be backwards compatible. They don't want Switch 2 to have your games just carry forward because Nintendo, like Sony, makes money off selling you games. And so if your Switch 2 is able to play all your Switch games, you don't have to buy a bunch of new games. Like they make their money. Like the Switch made a fuck ton of money because they were able to sell you Mario Kart 8 again. You had to buy Mario Kart 8 one more time. You had to buy Smash Bros. One more time. You had to buy the new Mario. You had to buy the new Zelda. Yeah. Even though like there was a Zelda on the Wii U. And so I think that part of it is, a big part of it is the Switch was doing fine. There's no fucking reason to touch it. Yeah. But I think the other reason is they need to figure out a gimmick makes it that it doesn't have to be backwards compatible so they can sell you the same games one
actually,
more time.
No, wait. Maybe I'll add on to that. So I think they will still release a Switch 2 later this year. I'm just thinking.
You think this year?
I think I'm hoping just for it. Or maybe next year, summer, just so they can just sell through the inventory. Here's the thing, is that the Switch 2 or the next one is not going to be backwards compatible. Like you said, but they'll go, you can, what's a subscription service they have?
Nintendo Online?
Yeah, something like
Nintendo,
that. Yeah. So you can play all the old games on a subscription service. And I think that's how they're going to do it, just so you can increase the users on that. So to help bridge that gap of getting people to adopt that new system to play old games on new hardware that's going to be.
I think we're not going to get Switch 2 this year. I still think, maybe not. I think we'll get a middle generation device that'll only be due for like 2 years. Like they'll do a Switch Pro.
Yeah.
And then that'll bring us through next year, and then next Christmas
maybe
it'll be
maybe this is just like
Jono,
like baby Jono, just hoping and praying. It's like, come on, just like release a new one. Because I
honestly I would be okay if the only thing that they released was just a home only Switch, where it was just like a little home console, but it's like it just has just a little more juice, and it can run all these games, that are 720p 30, 900p 30. It could run them at 1080p 60.
Yeah.
That would be fine. Yeah. And it's like, obviously I would love more than that, but if it was just that 1080p 60, that's all I'm asking for, Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a very reasonable ask, especially for the fact that their art styles are designed around simplicity and clean presentation. So there's not that many assets that need to be presented all at once. So
yeah, I think I don't really care about def 4K ultra. Like I will notice it for the first like 10, 20 minutes or some key moments in a cutscene. But after that, I do not think about it. I think the only time I ever remember thinking about it was when I played Ghost of Tsushima, and I remember telling you that last fight.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
sure.
Play down in 4K. You have to play 4K. I made the mistake in playing in 1080p. I regret it to this day. But yeah, like that was the only time I'm like, yeah, 4K would have been sick. Yeah. I think Nintendo, the art style and the direction and how that game looks, 1080p is fine. Like you will not.
Yeah, and 1080p is fine. And to me, it's art style is always more important than technical presentation. But when you're locked in on an art style because of hardware limitations, it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
And then performance, not the most important thing to me. I'm okay with 30 frames. I think 30 frames can be fine depending on the game.
Yeah.
But to me, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom would be so much better at 60. It's a mechanics-driven game. And to me, story-driven games are fine at 30.
Yeah.
And like games where you're like, it feels like you're playing a movie, that's fine at 30.
Yeah.
But it's like a mechanics-driven game, and it's like all about how these systems interact and stuff. A locked 60 would be such an enhancement to my fun.
Also, too, like, because, to get back to Hyrule, like, I'm not even here yet, but it happened right at the start. It's like you jump off and you do skydiving. That is so sick. And then just like to see this world so expansive, and you just see Link just doing this. Like, he's literally doing nothing. But you're just like, your eyes just like looking left, right? You're like, this is
so cool.
This is such a dope scene. Like, I can't remember. I was like, when I was playing it and he did that, and that intro, you just see Tears of the Kingdom. I was like, this is so cool. And then you kind of get to the storyline, and you're like, okay, it's Breath of the Wild. But what a big twist, which is fun, which is 100% cool. But yeah, I think for me, my experience so far, I'm gonna love this game. Really inadequate. I feel like this makes me feel old. Like I feel very old. But I still think that there's that one commercial. I think viewers, you have to go find it. It's a UK Nintendo commercial. It's like, oh, feel the adventure again. and it's about this guy like probably my age playing Zelda and having fun again. And that's what my experience is. It's literally just watch that guy. I'm like, that's Jono. Like he's having fun again.
And it's so happy that everyone's having a good time, that it's not a disappointment, and that like it's great to have a big single player game be the thing people are talking about. Yeah. Especially in a week that Blizzard dropped the bombshell on us that Overwatch 2 is not getting a fucking PvE mode.
Maybe we'll talk about that. Yeah, because
we should talk about it briefly. I think we should switch off of Tears of the Kingdom. We'll come back to it when we've kind of played it a little bit more.
Yeah.
We can talk briefly about things that companies are doing that annoy us. We'll keep it brief. We're already going over time. Yeah. So thing number one, Blizzard canceling the PvE mode of Overwatch 2, which is the whole fucking point.
Yeah.
What do you think is going on at Blizzard where they thought that was the right choice?
I think honestly, it's just no one wants to work there anymore. It's just that, it's unfortunate because they just were like the god company when I was growing up.
Diablo 2, Warcraft 3, like
like they every game they have released, I don't think they have ever missed. Like Overwatch some Overwatch 2. I mean,
yeah. Well, and I think into the last 10 years, I think Overwatch was like the last of their like, this is undoubtedly, because there's been Diablo 3 had a bad launch. I remember people not liking that. Warcraft 3 Reforged sucked. A couple bad World of Warcraft expansions that people are like pissed about recently.
All the new IP, every IP they've ever released has been probably a banger. So StarCraft, Warcraft,
Overwatch,
Hearthstone, yeah.
Although apparently Hearthstone is really struggling right now.
Really? Okay. Anyways, at the time of release, it was a banger. It was great.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think ever since the scandals and all this other things, they've had probably a brain drain. Like everyone just they just don't want having Blizzard on your resume used to be like you could go anywhere. Now having Blizzard on your resume could be like, ooh, I don't know.
I think even before that, I think it all shifted when Activision acquired Blizzard, or they merged, because it used to be that Blizzard was its own thing. It was just like this whole company. And it seemed like that was the sweet spot for them producing their best content. And then they joined up with Activision, and then the Activision toxic culture, which has always been a really bad thing. Like Activision's released good games, but they've always been known for having a terrible culture. Like EA really has periods where they release shit games and they're a terrible company.
Yeah.
But I've only ever heard good things about working at EA. Like every friend I have that works at EA is like, this is an amazing job and I'm so happy to work here.
Yeah.
Whereas anyone I've ever talked to that works at Activision is like, it's the fucking worst. It sucks.
Yeah.
And so Blizzard, I think, got infected by the Activision bug. And then that started the drain of like their high quality stuff. And also the pressure from above to content that makes money, not art that is from like a creative core.
I think 100%. I think I actually what you said actually rings very true, because when you even think about Bungie, right? Or Bungie, like even when Bungie was with Microsoft, it was fine. But when Bungie went to Activision, it went bad. Destiny 1 was okay. Destiny 2 was much better. But then you can kind of see him like, oh, they're just fucking
the expansions sucked. Yeah.
It's just like,
and it was like so clear. They just wanted to put the minimum amount of work to get the most, like to keep it going.
Expansions were expensive. They were like $30 a piece on a $70 game at the time.
And as far as I understand, I haven't played Destiny 2 for a while, but as far as I understand, the Destiny 2 or the Bungie indie era is like the best, because they were able to just be passionate and pour it and like make it that this was the game, not like Activision wanted, where it was like, we're just doing Destiny 1 for 3 years, Destiny 2 for 4 years, then Destiny 3, like just keep milking it, trying to pull out as much profitability from it as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm not stoked that Sony bought them. Like I think it's fine. Like it seems like Sony's not super interested in touching Destiny. Like they're like, just kind of do your thing. And they more, I think, wanted the net code and like the support for creating infrastructure for live service stuff. I hope that they let them do their thing. Although Bungie is also working on a new IP. Yeah. And so I'm guessing that will be a Sony exclusive thing.
Sony Entertainment, at least on the gaming side, has been proven to be good. They have Insomniac has launched bangers, except for the Ratchet & Clank. I never got into that because I guess I was
You should play the new one. The new one's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I don't like Ratchet and Clank that much.
Yeah,
I've always like played them and been like, yeah, it was fine. But the new one's really good.
I didn't, because it was always Insomniac versus Naughty Dogs, and I was like Team Jackson Daxter, bitch, and so I just did that. But I mean, I understand the game's great. TV show, the movies sucked, so I didn't bother doing that. But
I think I tried watching it, but it put me to sleep in like 10 minutes.
It's really bad. But I think just because how Sony Entertainment treats their video game studios, I have pretty good confidence that everyone will be fine. Like, I think it'll be fine.
I think both Sony and Nintendo have figured out we're really pushing a game. There's like, we know, like they don't seem to commit to really shitty games, or they don't allow their games to put out really shitty games, or they sweep them under the rugs. They cancel them. Yeah. And I don't know what the secret sauce is that both those developers or the publishers are doing. Yeah. But there's a certain quality to a Sony first party title or a Nintendo first party title that you kind of expect. And there's exceptions. Yeah. Like I know Days Gone was kind of like a big, like, oh, they really pushed Days Gone and it kind of is like a mid game. Yeah. I think after the dust settled, people are like, it's a pretty good game, but it's just really generic.
I played Days Gone. I got 2/3 into it and I just got kind of bored, but I saw the potential. I was like, this game could have been good if I think someone at the studio could have just been like, oh, I didn't follow the same kind of rules and practices like the God of War guys or the Naughty Dog guys did. I think it just felt like the Sony partner got too involved. I think that's what it is.
I think also is that they kind of relied on the formulas too early. Like there's nothing really in that game to set it apart creatively other than, he's the biker dude. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's kind of cool. But it's also
the zombie horde thing was kind of cool because like you have to clear the horde. But after that, I was kind of hoping there was more
generic open world survival shit.
Yeah, I was hoping there was
and
more
the story sucked. The acting was so cringe. I couldn't handle it. Yeah, I think I played like 10 hours and I was like, this is fine.
It felt like it was supposed to be Sons of Anarchy in Walking Dead. I think
Walking Dead.
That game was you know what? Maybe you know what it was. The game was too data driven. Was like people like Sons of Anarchy
totally.
And people like Walking Dead. And then it just kind of fucked up.
To me, it's one of those games that if they announced Days Gone 2, I would have actually been very excited because once they have that structure in place, they can work out the details. Because that game, the skeleton is good. It's the details that weren't there. Yeah. It's like it wasn't fun to scavenge these little buildings because like they weren't interesting. They were just like generic, Americana shit. And it wasn't like there was like a really thought out, interesting angle. Yeah. And I think like it's, to me, it's always interesting going back to Left 4 Dead 2, where I played more Left 4 Dead because it was novel at the time. This 4-player co-op zombie shooter was more novel. But Valve knew you can't just like do that again. You have to have a unique angle to make people excited again. And so they set it in Louisiana, and that's like a unique angle that, isn't super common for games to be set in like New Orleans or whatever their version of New Orleans was. And that gave it enough of an angle that even though you're seeing a lot of the same zombie iconography and like setups that you're used to, there's just like a twist that makes it special. And I felt like Days Gone just didn't ever have like a unique twist. It was
and also I think too, I don't know. It's like, you just can't. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. I don't know what I was trying to go with it, but it's like, it just felt that game sucked.
I don't know if it sucked. It's just so unimpressive. Yeah. Oh, whereas other
Yeah, no. I remember where I was going to go with it. It's like Days Gone 1 was okay. You actually think about it. Uncharted 1 was okay too.
Yeah, totally.
So I will go like you said, if Days Gone 2 comes, I will be excited. But it better give me the Uncharted 2 vibes. Like it better be.
100%. Yeah. Well, and I think video games, I've had this conversation many times. Yeah. Video game sequels are not like movie sequels. Movie sequels, good movie is like a core idea that you like blow out into a full 2-hour thing and like you're telling the story and like it's a good movie. And so making a sequel to that is hard because you have to take something that ties into that, but is its own core idea and you can blow it. Because if you just repeat it, it's kind of boring. If you kind of just like push it forward, it's just kind of boring. Whereas a video game is a series of systems and interlocking mechanics that take a while for them to be fun to play.
Yeah.
And so if you can build off of that skeleton and, you know, you build out the flesh, you build out a new like levels, new vehicles, new weapons, whatever, but you have like the core, it's a lot easier. And so I find video game sequels are often better. Like obviously they can fuck up, but like Mass Effect 1 versus Mass Effect 2, like everyone agrees Mass Effect 2 is the better one. I like Mass Effect 1 more just because it blew me away at the time. But like Assassin's Creed 1 versus Assassin's Creed 2, like it's the same skeleton, but it's just such better flesh on top of it. Uncharted 2. Like there's so many examples of video games that the seconds are just so much better.
I'm just trying to think what else is there. You know, I think that's fine. I don't want to get too deep in it because we're definitely running over.
Well, I think like you can even go back all the way to like Warcraft 1
Warcraft 2. Like, Warcraft 2 was sick. StarCraft 2 was okay. StarCraft 2 was good. Yeah.
But I think StarCraft is also an example of being built on Warcraft. Like StarCraft is after Warcraft 2. And so that's also a good example of repurposing a skeleton you already have. Yeah. Silent Hill 2, Uncharted 2,
Last of Us,
Assassin's Creed 2.
I was going to say Last of Us 2, but it's not really it's a continuation of a story. I will say that.
Batman Arkham City. Although I think the consensus in 2023 is that Arkham Asylum is better for not being open world.
Yeah.
Smash Bros obviously got better. Borderlands 2 is better than Borderlands 1.
Yep. Red Dead Redemption 2, they're both good.
But that one's like, that's a different one where it's like Rockstar just kind of exists in its own dimension where it has unlimited money and time and can just, it's not like it took some obviously systems and stuff from the first one, but it's like Red Dead Redemption 2 is not as good as it is because it's a sequel. It's because Star is just able to do whatever the fuck they want. They have so much money.
Half-Life 2 is really good.
Halo 1 versus Halo 2, like, but then Halo 2, it's like they rushed it too much, so it's like that's not a great example.
Yeah, Bioshock 1 is
no, Bioshock 1's better. But I actually think that Bioshock 2 gets a worse rap than it deserves. Like Bioshock 2 is actually pretty good, but it's not.
2 is you're the big daddy the whole way through.
Yeah, you're the big daddy.
Yeah,
and there's the big sister. So, but Bioshock falls into the movie failing of this really good core idea and then not being able to like get a new core idea and develop that. It's just the same core idea kind of pushed further. And that's why Bioshock 2 is not as good.
Yeah.
Mechanically, it is better. It's actually a more fun game and there's more interesting encounters, better level design. But what you remember about Bioshock isn't that stuff. It's the story.
Yeah, it's just
that's where it fails.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything. Well, that's why Bioshock 3 was decent. It built on
I like
it.
Infinite.
Infinite is really good, but to me, I think still Bioshock 1, the storyline, it was just perfect.
Yeah, and it's like a movie. They had a great core idea and they built out the game around that.
Yeah.
And they've never really been able to replicate that since. And so it'll be interesting to see the Kevin, whatever his name is, the creator of BioShock, he has his new studio and they're making a new immersive sim or whatever.
BioShock creator. I still got to play Atomic Heart because even though, yes, it's not great, but I still think it looks pretty dope.
I have it downloaded, but I haven't got around to playing it.
I still need I still need to find my computer. So let me explain one thing too. I'm actually really frustrated.
That'll be the last thing because we're going long.
Yeah. So I have we're not going to talk about 911. We'll talk about it later.
Not this week.
Next week. So oh my god. So the movers came and put all my stuff and they kind of fucked up, which I was like okay with because they took 3 hours and they were really tired. I'm like, it's okay, guys. But when I went in there to find my Switch, so that's how I'm playing the game, it was a mess. Like it was just we finally got in a workable state, but I still haven't got my computer yet. I don't know what my monitor is. We found the Switch, we found this this arm, I found my microphone. But yeah, so in half of me is like I want to find a permanent place here so I can get all my stuff out, because also that place is costing me about $350 a month. Sucks.
Shit.
So I mean, I could that's 10% of what rent could be, because I'm sorry.
You're gonna rent.
I'm gonna be money bags. I want a big place that's gonna cost me $3,000 a month. So just to get that out and
only $3,000. That's not so bad.
Really? Oh my god.
That's places like a one bedroom. I guess you're in the States now, but in Canada, average one bedroom is $2,200 now.
Ooh.
And so that's a one fucking bedroom. Like we're fucked. It's all fucked.
Man.
And so $3,000, that sounds really fucking nice. Like I get a steal where I am and I pay less than 3,000, but like I should be paying 3,000 and it's not enough space for three people. It's fucking so frustrating.
Yeah. I'm trying to find like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a yard and a driveway, and also able to have some sort of like battery solar power system. Granted, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, but yeah, it was just it was a little bit depressing, and I was just like, I wish I had a cigarette. It's like,
But you're not smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, like I'm 2 weeks in to not smoking again.
I think good for you.
Granted, I might have one because it's just like it's been a hard week. But yeah, it's going good, but also that was such a bummer. And also too,
that sounds.
If you're in, this is for the viewers. If you think you need something and you're moving, you probably don't need it. There's a lot of things I wish I was like, why did I bring this? This is dumb. I could have like saved myself a lot of trouble.
I think about that often too. It's like if I ever decided to move like far, all my video games and stuff and like even consoles, it's like bring any of it, just sell it and get it again.
That's why I left all my video game stuff with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, cool.
And so
all right.
Anyways, yeah. It was a good time. Good chatting with you, Jono. I always appreciate our times together.
Yeah. And then
you sound so good on our new beacon mics.
Yeah, beacon mics. Well, we haven't signed anything, so
okay. We have new beacon mics. Tell us what you think they sound like. I haven't done any adjustments. I kind of just popped it out of the box and
you pretty much sound perfect. And
yeah,
honestly,
they sound pretty good.
I'm on a Mac. I don't even have like the software for it yet, so it's fine. But anyways, I do want to shout out all the drumettes on our Patreon. Woo! Patreon.com/members. We're at 18, baby. So let's I'm just gonna shout them out. Whatever. So we got I'm gonna go from newest to oldest. So it's cool. Bajoran Bueller, Ryan T, Elias Amir.
Whoa. Bajoran Bueller?
Yeah.
It's a great. Oh, Bjorn. Not Bajoran.
Oh, yeah.
Bajoran like this.
Bjorn.
Yeah, because it's BJORN.
Yeah. With the
yes, Bjorn. Okay, I was Bjorn. Like, Bajoran. Oh, cool. Like Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Anyways, Elias Amernes, John Gers, Emma Franklin, Mark Bradshaw, Maury Martinez, Sly Merlin, Ethan Lowe, David Curie, Briggs Wellman, Emilia Coe, Daniel Quasar, Joel Norton, Cody Owen, Matthew Noonan. I'm going to give props to Matthew Noonan because he's great. Mike 1814, Guelo Navarro, and 2 followers. If you're listening to this, just help support it. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And also one thing too, if you have stuck around this long, do me a favor. Go on Apple or whatever the podcast platform you use and give us 5 stars. If you want to give us 1 star, email us at letswingit22@gmail.com. I want to know why you would before you do it. Because you can't.
And why would you listen to the podcast this far?
Yeah.
Like an hour and a half in. Because start. Please,
we'll
5 stars, please.
Yeah, because we're trying to grow this because it was just a fun thing, but now it's getting kind of like it's starting to mature a little bit earlier than I thought. But it's getting fun. And then
I'm having a good time.
It's good. Boom.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
See y'all later.
Bye-bye. Oh, and also, if you get ads in this, if you don't want the ads version, go to Patreon.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. All right. See you guys later.
Bye-bye.